A Shalom, Barakatha Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachadash. Double honors to head apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to brothers in the highways and byways, doing the work sincerely and faithfully and continually fighting that good fight of faith, Lord willing. We have found in that number to be the living. All right, so I just want to speak a little bit about the tabernacle of David, all right, that is fallen. And the Lord makes mention of him bringing it back together, all right, as in the days of old. When we get that Amos, the 9th chapter here, all right. When you hear men today speak about, you know, the house of David, the building of the house of David, these very same men, and there's a lot of them out there, who talk about the house of David, right? And in the midst of them saying that, they're also endorsing the heathen can be saved, they can make it, they're gonna be in the kingdom, all nations can be saved, right? But in the same breath, they're talking about the tabernacle of David or the house of David, right? Which makes no sense. So let's read Amos 9:11. It says, "In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen." All right. So we understand and know that King David, he reigned for 40 years. I believe it was 7 in Judah and 33. About 33 in Jerusalem. All right. So if he reigned for 40 years, he wasn't reigning for 40 years because he was a nice guy. All right. So that was the tabernacle that has fallen. When you look at how King David ruled, how he was whooping ass, taking no names, all right? The Lord said this as we read on, "And close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old." All right? So this is how the Lord said he's going to build this upcoming tabernacle, as in the days of old, which was fierce. David was a fierce man. He was a man of war. And he had no mercy on the heathen, on any outside nation. All right? So that's the type of tabernacle that the Lord is going to build when that time comes. That mentality that King David had in his men that were with him, that mentality was a fierce mentality. All right? So let's talk about a little bit about the days of old. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 8. All right? And let's just go through this, and just analyze how King David was operating back at that time. We'll call it as the days of old. 2 Samuel 8, it says, "And after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them. And David took Megiddo out of the hand of the Philistines. And he smote Moab and measured them with a line, casting them down to the ground. Even with 2 lines measured he to put them to death, and with 1 full line to keep alive. And so the Moabites became David's servants and brought gifts." All right. So we're getting an understanding now, because this is what these writings were for our understanding. We're getting an understanding of how King David operated in the days of old. He smote nations, man. Beat them into subjection. All right? There was never any king or any servant or one of David's, it was never anybody saying we need to go, love these other nations. So what makes people think when the Lord reestablishes or reunifies the tabernacle of old, what makes you think we're going to have that mentality? It's not going to happen that way. let's continue on. It says, David smote also Hadadezer, the son of Rohab, the king of Zobah, as he went to recover his border at the river Euphrates. And David took from him 1,000 chariots and 700 horsemen and 20,000 footmen. And David hewn all the chariots of horses, but reserve of them for 100 chariots. It says, and when the Syrians of Damascus came to secure Hadadezer, king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians 22,000 men. All right. Now keep in mind, this is how King David was operating when he became king. He had to let everybody know there was a new king in town, and I ain't taking no shorts. All right. Verse 6. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became David's servants. Slakia, and the Syrians became servants of David, and brought gifts, and the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadadezer, and brought them to Jerusalem. And from Bethah, and from Bethoi, cities of Hadadezer, King David took exceeding much brass. When Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had smitten all the hosts of Hadadezer, then Toi sent Joram his son unto King David to salute him and to bless him, because he had fought against Hadadezer and smitten him. For Hadadezer had wars with Toi, and Joram brought with him vessels of silver, and vessels of gold, and vessels of brass, which also King David did dedicate unto the Lord, with the silver and with the gold that he had dedicated of all nations which he had subdued, of Syria, and of Moab, and of the children of Ammon, and of the Philistines, and of Amalek, and of the spoil of Hadadezer, son of Rohab, king of Zobah. And David gat him a name when he returned from smitten of the Syrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. All right. So this is what it was like in the days of old. 14. And he put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom put he garrisons, and all they of Edom became David's servants. And the Lord preserved David wheresoever he went. And David reigned over all Israel, and David executed judgment and justice unto all his people. All right. So again, if the Lord said, I will raise up his ruins, what are the ruins? All the system of David that was back in the ancient time. All the foundations and the established foundations of King David in the ancient times. He said he's going to raise them up, right? And I will build it as in the days of old. So we just got through reading how the tabernacle of David, or the house of David, was going to be operating. All right. That was how it was operating back in the days of old. And it's going to be operating in that same stead. When the Lord sets this thing back up, people are going to fear us. And these heathens and these Edomites, and that was a perfect example to let you know and give you an understanding that we ain't going to be joining hand in hand with Esau, Edom, the Moabites. We ain't going to be joining hand in hand with these people. All right? The Lord's drawing that line in the sand as we speak. So for anybody teaching that, they're of the house of David, and that the heathen can make it, and they can be saved, and they can repent, well, that would make the Lord a liar. Because in the days of old, there was no nation that was joining hand in hand with King David that helped King David secure, different regions of the land. The Lord set King David up. The Lord blessed King David whithersoever he went and all that he has done. Right? So let's continue. This is Zechariah 14. Slakia. Where we at here? This is let me get Zechariah 14. Here we go. This is Zechariah 14, and I'm gonna start at 16. And it says, "And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all nations, of all the nations which come up against Jerusalem, shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord Yahweh Shai of hosts, and keep the Feast of Tabernacles." All right. So there's going to come a point in time where these nations are going to come up and they're going to worship. And any nation that doesn't come up is going to be held to pay. All right. There's not going to be this great, the great sharing of the nations and these other nations just doing whatever the hell they want to do, because they do that now. But when the rule is established, when righteousness is established, there's going to be one ruler. All right? There's going to be one nation that's going to be ruling. As you know how this system works, this beast system, there's all types of nations ruling, man. There's all types of rulers. Different nations got different leaders and all this other nonsense. Israel's going to be on top. Okay, continuing on. And it says, "And it shall be that whosoever will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Shai, even upon them shall be no rain." All right. So get it known now. We're not joining hand with these nations. And why would you want to? Why would you want to go into the kingdom with a bunch of filthy ass heathens and some dirty ass wicked Edomites and do what? Because if that's the case, that can be done here. Let Esau rule. Let Esau sit on his throne and let Israel sit on it. The Lord could do that here. But this is going to be done in great fashion, man. This is going to be done in great fashion. And this is why it's written, "And then shall it be known who are the Lord's chosen people." Because the Lord's going to get busy, man. He's going to do some marvelous works. So much so, even as we tell people to this very day, they still can't believe it. It's far-fetched. Well, I'll tell you what wasn't far-fetched. When he brought the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, and them heaps of them walls of water rose up. People believed then. All right? So again, these nations are going to come unto us. And they're not coming unto us so we can give them a seat, a kingly seat, that they may be rulers and joint rulers with us. Okay? Let's go from there. And this is Jeremiah 30. It says, verse 7, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." Now I'm reading this because I just want to show you the chronological order as to what's happening. Because we are at the end of this thing. The time of Jacob's trouble is near upon the horizon, man. But after the time of Jacob's trouble, as the Lord said, "But he shall be saved out of it, whom the hopeful elect." It says, "For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh Shai, Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves on him." Right? So this is going to be what's going to take place after the Lord destroys, this nation, these kings of the earth. Then it reads to say, but they shall serve the Lord their power, Yahweh Shai Shai, and David their king. All right. So as the Lord said, he's going to build it as in the days of old, put King David back on his throne, give King David that warrior mentality. Okay? Because that's how it was back in the ancient time. So it's going to be like the same thing in this time period. And King David's going to enjoy the ability to subdue these nations. Like we all are. We're going to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai. All right? So we're all going to have joy in setting shit in order through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. Okay? Let's continue on. Verse 8, for it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds. I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves on him. But they shall serve the Lord their power, Yahweh Shai, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord Yahweh Shai, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return and shall be in rest. All right. Now, Elder Apostle Gabar always makes mention about when the kingdom comes, that's when we're going to get our rest. Right? And that's 100% true, as he always says. Right now is not the time which we should be looking for rest. All right? Elder Apostle Tahar had made mention years ago, 34:7. He said Babylon wasn't built for comfort. Now, all these nations outside of the nation of Israel have had some great comforts, afforded to them. But the children of Israel, we've been toiling since day one, man. Going through it. Barely surviving. And these are some of the things that were brought upon us, and these are the things that remain on us until Yahweh Shai delivers us up into the kingdom. Right? So this is what we understand, that the rest is going to come in due time. And it says, I'll read it again. It says, I'll start at, and Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Okay? So right now, we're still under the power and control of our enemy. The scriptures spoke about going to him for the want of all things. That's still in play, man. That's still in play. We're still going through it. Working doubles, just grinding, stress, just worrying from day to day, just trusting in the Lord that he gives us through the day. As it is written, give us this day our daily bread. But we here, man. We going through it. So this place wasn't built for us to be comfortable. All right? This place wasn't built for us to have rest. Verse 11. For I am with thee, saith the Lord, power Yahweh Shai, to save thee. Though I make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and I will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Okay? So this is what the Lord has in store for us. But again, prophecy's got to be fulfilled. And as we started off with verse 7, the time of Jacob's trouble, that's coming. And everything's going to happen at its appointed time, and it's going to be in succession. So we have a lot to look forward to. But we can't go enjoy the mental spoils of things, because we still got hell to pay, man. We still got hell to go through. All right? So all that being said, as we started off, the Lord said he's going to build it as in the days of old, the tabernacle of David. And the tabernacle of David, back in the ancient times, had no other nation, making decisions in helping King David, to rule the earth, the known earth at the time. And nor will it be that way when Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai sets this thing back up and we seek to David our king. All right? We're not going to need no help from any other nation. We're not going to want any other nation stepping foot on holy ground. Brute beasts. But all that being said, I was just meditating on the fact that as the Lord brings us through, and as we are going through practicing rehearsing the righteous acts, all this is being built up. We're being built up for a reason. So when the Lord does put us in that position, when we get the laws, statutes, and commandments in our inward parts, right now we're showing our faith. We're showing our love and dedication to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So with that, Lord willing, I'm going to see you brothers in another one. I say shalom.